Okay, so let's say you encountered something that was extraordinary.
Sure.
What do you do?
I will try to get extraordinary evidence in support of it. That's instantly. That's what I would do. If I saw aliens walking, I'd pull out my smartphone. I'd find a video. I would try to steal something off their hip. So I'd have an artifact. I would, oh my gosh, I'd yell to other people, get images of the same thing. That's what I would do. I wouldn't just say, this is interesting. Now let me go to Congress and tell everyone that I had an encounter with aliens. No, I wouldn't expect anybody, any of my colleagues to believe me, even if it were true. I would be seeking the kind of evidence that extraordinary claims require. And that's extraordinary evidence.
Let's say you saw some orb, and perhaps even you saw an alien. Perhaps even it abducted you. It didn't let you take out, it didn't even occur to you. Because by the way, this is a common experience with anyone. It's not just related to aliens. Firstly, it's difficult to get a photo of anything that's in the sky with your cell phone when you don't know where it is. I was walking in the woods with my family and there was a porcupine up in the tree. And then my brother
I didn't know
said,
they climb trees. They climb trees? Well, that's dangerous.
And we said, whoa, wow, whoa, oh my gosh. Firstly, we're just startled. And so our system too, I don't like that phrase.
But I don't think porcupines climb trees. But go on.
Okay, anyway, there was a porcupine in the tree. And it didn't occur to any of us to take out our phones. And further, like 5 seconds later or 10 seconds later, it's just gone. And that's a porcupine. Like, try finding a non-professional photographer's photo of a porcupine online. I did a search for that. Same with lemurs. And there are many lemurs and porcupines. I think there's 20,000 times more lemurs and porcupines, maybe 100,000 times, than there would be these anomalous objects, whatever they are.
So it's hard. Yeah, the science is hard.
Secondly, even when there are images...
Whatever it is, it's easier than detecting the gravitational wave from colliding black holes.
And thirdly, there does exist, while there doesn't exist great photos, and by the way, that's contested because the government seems to have some photos that they won't release, which is why...
That's called a conspiracy theory, doesn't it? That's what that sounds like, but go on.
They come from FOIA requests. Like, you can ask the government, what do you have? And then they can tell you the reason why they're not going to give it to you. Like, this is classified. This violates this law.
Of course, it's going to have classified. What are you getting at here with this conversation?
Neil, this can get to such traumatic events that people go through. Like, you can imagine, I'm not even going to say it because it's on YouTube and maybe it'll get censored. They have no evidence, and someone could just say, why didn't you record? Weren't you in the right state of mind? And then let's imagine they have people testifying for them, then we say, hey, it's increscent evidence. So it's evidence that increases your credence by a bit.
Yeah. No, it's not about it's not a matter of credence. It's eyewitness testimony gathered that's consistent, says, this is excellent. Now we need to bring the methods and tools of science to investigate that.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So
Which would include pulling your damn smartphone out and not being shocked at the porcupine in the tree, which might not have even been a porcupine, because I didn't know porcupines climb trees. You might have been seeing something else and thought it was a porcupine. Okay. Well, how would the porcupine climb? Really? Really? They got stubby little legs. How are they going to climb a tree?
Yes, they regularly climb trees in search of food.
That's new to me.
Yeah. Okay. So take that. It's new to you. Like, don't mean it such like, hey, I don't know it, therefore it's not true.
I didn't say that. No, you keep putting words in my mouth. Why? You're trying to characterize what I say to make your argument look good, and that's not what I've been saying. No, quote me accurately before you criticize what I say, rather than reshape it so that you can make a comment that sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I was being facetious, and I thought that was clear.
Okay.
But also, the same is being done with you. I say you're straw-manning people by saying, I don't know what it is, therefore aliens.
People do say that. They do say that.
Few people.
No, not few people. How many people do you interact with daily? I do, and I have comment threads. There's a whole what percent? Half, maybe. Half will say that I saw a UFO. It did things that defy the laws of physics. It must have been an alien. That is one of the most common accounts for lights in the sky that defy. They say, and then it zipped away faster than any airplane. It must have been an alien. Do you realize how common that is? And I'm saying, we don't know what it is. It's fascinating. Let's investigate further. Go right ahead.
Yes, great. I like that last part. I'm not quite a fan of the first part, because even if that's the
first
case,
part?
Is saying that like 50% of people say, I've seen something, it didn't.
That's my very loose. That's my loose statistics on that.
It doesn't matter if it's 70%, which I actually think it's maybe 25, but it doesn't matter.
Okay. It's not 1%. It's not 99%.
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Okay.
Sure. The issue is that we are supposed to deal with the strongest argument. We don't take the case of, even if it's the majority of people.
No, the strongest argument would be actual scientific data, not eyewitness testimony.
I have some notes here.
Sure. Go.
This comes from Kevin Knuth. So basically, he's saying that, look, I have papers. Kevin Knuth is a professor of physics, by the way, and the editor-in-chief of Entropy Journal and MD.
Yeah, I actually don't care about people's pedigree. If they're right, regardless of their pedigree. And if they're wrong, regardless of their pedigree. Thank you for telling me that, but don't invoke that as some measure of whether or not what he's saying is more true than someone else's account. Go.
Okay, I wouldn't invoke that ordinarily, except Neil.
Do you realize in my field, wait, just to be clear, in my field, when we publish papers, your degrees are not listed next to your name. They're just names. And in that name could be an undergraduate who was particularly talented, who contributed their creative ideas to the research paper. We do not rank people when you're making the publication, because a great idea can come from anywhere and can be tested and experimented. Okay, so go.
I wholeheartedly agree. The reason why I had said that is because earlier you made a distinction between those who are physicists and have gotten degrees in physics versus those who are philosophers and gotten. So I'm saying, like, look, this is someone who has a pedigree, because apparently that mattered in that case. Further, I saw a conversation with you on the AI topic where you said, hey, people who aren't experts shouldn't talk about it, which to me sounds like an argument.
Did I say that? I didn't say that.
It's a couple times that was said, like, only leave the experts. And then you said, you're not an expert. Like, you admitted that, like, I'm not an expert. So, but
well,
that's why I'm saying it.
All right. So now technology, let's count AI as among the fruits of technology. There are people who fear that AI will ruin. I'm not among those, but then I'm not an expert. Okay. Hold aside that I've written 50,000 lines of computer code and I've been thinking about computers my whole life. I don't present myself as an expert, and I won't. And I say that because people who do present themselves as experts, by the way, I don't count Elon Musk as an AI expert. Yeah, I don't remember saying non-experts shouldn't talk about it. I don't think I would have ever said that. If I did, I didn't mean it that way. I've coded probably 50,000 lines of computer programs in my life.
It was around the time you mentioned that.
Yeah. So, and I think about AI all the time. I interacted with AI what was called AI, as early as the 1970s in a computer science class. We've used AI in my field to analyze data, to find interesting things in data that we would not have otherwise been able to sift through. Okay. We've invoked neural nets. So we've been very active in this capacity. And then AI now crosses over into liberal arts and can write your term paper, and people lose their shit. So that's intriguing to me, that it is so thoroughly embedded elsewhere. And now it touches a place where it hadn't touched before. And people now it's in every day's newspaper has a scare article on AI. But go on. I just want to, for this conversation, we don't need to rely on whatever other recordings were, because you have me in person and I can tell you what I think.
Okay.
So go on.
Anyhow, Kevin Knuth has articles, as well as someone named, I'm just citing their last names without their degrees, Powell, Reilly, Kuhn, Herman Oberth, where they have radar and you can put estimations on the speeds of these. And all they're saying, all these professors, Avi Loeb, and Gary Nolan, so Stanford, Harvard, people with PhDs in science that may not matter to you, Eric Weinstein.
Wait, hold on. I care. Just a sec. I wasn't clear enough. I care that you're professionally trained. Okay. If someone is a professional physicist, I care about that. So do give me that information. I don't care where you got your degree or where you're practicing. I don't care about the perceived prestige of one institution versus another. Okay. That's really what I don't care about. But it's nice to know it. Was it a biologist who came up to this? Yes.
If you enjoyed that clip, then the full podcast is out right now. You can click around here. Enjoy. Subscribe to Theories of Everything to get notified of upcoming podcasts, as there are new full-length podcasts every week on the topics of mathematics, physics, consciousness, free will, and AI.